Hey guys, how's it going? Preparing here. So yesterday in the new Path of Exile patch they introduced a few uniques, and one of the new uniques is called Shavron's Wrappings, and it's an armor that it's like an ES armor. The stats are all right, but the main priority is that the chaos damage doesn't bypass energy shield, and this item kind of opened people's eyes about the possibilities of Path of Exile. So I'll go into that before I talk about the details of the armor today, because I think that's really a very crucial point. You know, a lot of people play games like Diablo, play, other games, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars. They kind of expect a certain thing, but the first time they're playing the game, often they don't know what to expect. And I think this is a very important point, because a lot of people who've played Path of Exile, they're like, oh, there's just the Lightning Arrow build, there's the Freeze Pulse build, there's the EK build. You just pick one of those builds and you just grind the game. That's what you do. Well, you can look at it that way if you want, but in the end, Path of Exile is really a game where personally I gain the most enjoyment from creating builds, figuring out how skills work with each other, and how to combine them to make a really powerful combination, leading to a very powerful character. And all this stuff is always changing. It's changing through the balance stuff, but it's also changing when they add a new unique like this. They added a few other uniques as well, and actually one of them, there's a shield that converts your physical damage to fire damage, which is, also on a side note, I'll tell you guys how to use that. But the idea is that, they did something so small as to add 4 new items, and by doing so, they pretty much, developed a whole new category of characters that people can make in Path of Exile. It completely changed everything. They added 1 extra skill, it's like Incinerate. Seemed pretty lackluster to me, but other people really liked it. But the idea is that, contrast to a lot of other games, Path of Exile is so complex, and everything is kind of, related with each other within the game. So when you add variables like these, it creates a lot of new content for players who want to experiment with builds, try new stuff out, and all the good stuff following that. And the end game content, while it is maps and stuff, when you have this stuff always changing it, it really changes the game as a whole. The guys over at Grinding Gear have announced that they have over 100 uniques left to make from the Diamond supporters. So, they made 4, and one of them is like totally crazy, and they made another one which is actually pretty good as well. And, all this kind of stuff just changes the dynamic of the game. They also adding in new skills. They said they're going to plan to add 1 new skill every week at a certain point. I think next week they're actually launching the Whirlwind skill, and I think perhaps that weekly launch of a new skill has actually begun already. So with that in mind, I'm really excited for the future of Path of Exile. The guys over at Grinding Gear, they, while it is their first launch game, it seems to me like they really know what they're doing, in terms of, feeding people content, which is really the the ultimate thing when it comes to playing the game for a long time. So let me back up a little bit. You guys kind of understand the point there, but you guys will really understand it with a few of these items. So the shield, which I'll show you guys there, it converts part of your physical to elemental. The reason this is very good is because when people play Ethereal Knives builds, the main thing that they die to is physical reflect, because they do so much damage per hit to a lot of targets, and as you know, the damage is essentially mitigated by your own armor when it's reflected, and if you do a lot of damage in one hit, your armor is not very effective. So a lot of people who play EK require an obscene amount of armor. But the other way to do it is to convert the damage. So I've recommended to some people to use the Hrimsaro gloves, which converts 25% of your damage to cold, but the problem with that is, you have to move the glove slot. So it's not like an easy thing to do, because otherwise the gloves are garbage. You can't really do that on the fly. However, because this new item is a shield, what you can do is, if you face a physical reflect pack with an EK character, you can have a weapon swap with this shield, and you just weapon swap to it, and then you attack. So you're actually doing 25% less physical, which actually results in you reflecting, 30 to 40% less damage to yourself. So very significant stuff. So because of that, it kind of, lowers the weakness of a very popular build. And, it's kind of a big thing. That's kind of what they like to do with these uniques, kind of develop a niche situation. The armor, which you guys can also see there, this one's a really big deal because for a very long time people have tried to make the low life build happen. There's a lot of items and passives and things in this game that are very powerful with the on low life bonus. On low life signifies that your character has 35% or less life remaining, either from taking damage or reserving the life through auras or other means. And the problem with doing this is that if you focus your character on life and you go below 35%, you just have none of it. If you focus your character on energy shield and you use just medium to small life pool, if you lower that to low life, chaos damage is going to kill you because chaos damage bypasses the energy shield. So you kind of could do that if you had extreme gear levels to like cap out your chaos resist, have really high life, have really high energy shield. That's pretty much like an impossibility, but it could in theory be done. But now with this armor, what you can do is you can focus entirely on energy shield, and you can use the new passive, the Zealot's Oath, to apply your life regen to your energy shield. And then if you have like 800 life, you can use Righteous Fire like it's nothing. You can get to low life to use Pain Attunement, 35% multiplier on your spell damage. You can use random shit like Red Beak, 100% more damage on, 100% increased damage on low life, I think it's. And you can use that for bear traps. So you can double the damage of bear traps because spell damage normally doesn't affect bear traps, but because it's just damage, it affects bear traps. So you can do some crazy shit like that. A few of the builds that Bob and I planned on the stream last night were pretty much with this mindset in mind, but the realization was the same. This one item opened opened the floodgates. There's so many low life build possibilities that just instantly became viable because of this one item. And scaling this to the future of Path of Exile, I feel will be a lot of fun to play this game as they add these items, as they add new skills to figure out how to combine them again and again and again. Because when it comes to playing Path of Exile, I'm sure a lot of people agree that most of their enjoyment of the game came from the point where they understood the game to where they could kind of develop their own strategy, their own passive skill tree. That part is really, really cool. And because people who already played the game, who are still playing the game, they already understand it. What the guys at Grinding Gear are doing is they're just adding more possibilities for you to understand and to play around with and to have fun with. That's really it. And say it again. I think they're doing a really good job with the shit they're coming out with. So hopefully you guys can see what the picture's looking like in the future for Path of Exile and enjoy it as much as I do. See you guys tomorrow.